Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to build this temperature check-in program with JavaScript. So in the program, you would enter a temperature value, and when you click on the button, the program will tell you whether the temperature is cold or hot. And if you don't enter any value at all and click on the button, it will tell you to enter a temperature value. We're going to be doing all this with just JavaScript. So hit the subscribe button if you get value from this video and be part of us. Help us grow. Leave a like on this video and comment down below if you have any questions. So with that in mind, let's get into the video. Inside the HTML document, we have this pre-written code, but I'll go through them quickly. So we first have a div section with a class of container. This will serve as the containing div, the box we see. And you have an h1 element with an inner text of hot or cold. And this is the heading for the program. And then we have an input field with a type of number where we enter the temperature value in degrees Celsius. And below it, we have a button with an inner text of check. And when you click on the button, you run the function or run the program. And lastly, we have a paragraph element with an ID of results, which will display the message for the user depending on the temperature they enter, whether it is hot or cold. And then we have a script tag that links to the JavaScript file. And that's all for the markup. Next, inside the CSS file, we have some pre-written declarations for the HTML element, and this will add style and design to our elements, just as we see over here. Now let's add some functionality. But before we do that, I would like to go through the logic of this program so you understand it better. So enter a temperature value inside the input field, or we can decide to leave it empty, and we click on the button. Now when you click on the button, you will check to see the value of the input field. If the input field is empty, we tell the user to enter a temperature value. What if the input field has an actual value? So if it has a value, we then go on to check if it is greater or equal to 30. So if it is 30 or above, we tell the user that it is hot. We display this result in the paragraph element. And if the temperature value is below 30, that is, if it is less than 30, we tell the user that it is cold. So the first thing we'll do is to create a function to run the program. And I'll call this function the check temperature because, well, we are checking the temperature inside the input field. And we add the block of code to be executed inside the curly braces. So in the curly braces, we first get the value of the input field, whatever we've typed or entered into the input field, we get that value and assign it to a variable input. So we get the input field by its ID, temperature input, and assign it to the input variable. Next, we grab the results paragraph and also assign it to a results variable so that we can manipulate it anytime we want. Next, we check our first condition. So what if the input field is empty? So if the input, which is the value of the input field, is strictly equal to an empty string, we update the text content of the result paragraph to please enter a temperature. And then we set the color of this result message that will appear to gray. And we return the function because we are done with the function if the input field is empty. Now, what if there is a value inside the input field? So we first get the input, the value, and place it inside the parse float method and assign it to the temperature variable temp. Then we check our first condition if there is a value inside the input field. So if the temp this time is greater or equal to 30, we update the text content of the results field to it is hot. And we change the color of the text that will appear to red because, well, it is hot. Or else, we update the text content of the result this time to it is cold. And we change the text color to blue because, well, it is blue and blue signifies cold or ice. So this is a function to run the code. Now, the last thing we will do is to go into the HTML document, and in the button, we add an event. So we locate the button and add the event on click. That is when we click on the button. Then we call the function, check temperature. So let's check to see if this program runs. So we first enter a low value, a low temperature value, let's say -2, it is cold. And we enter a value that is greater than 30. So let's say 40, it is hot. And what if we leave the input field empty? It will prompt us to please enter a temperature. So yeah, that's how to create a simple temperature checker with JavaScript. I hope this video helped you out. And if it did, make sure to hit the subscribe button and be part of us. Leave a like and then comment down below if you have any questions or the next project you want me to do. See you in my next video.